All right, hey, before we get started, I want to talk about the presenting sponsor of this show. That's Miller Lite. The only thing better than spending summer outside with friends is spending summer outside with friends and beer. Not just any beer, but the great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. 96 calories, and it's a beer that tastes like beer.
I was on a mission to get one on the golf course yesterday. Mission was successful, made my entire day, cured all my ails. It was the absolute best.
Yeah,
quenched my thirst.
It was. So there was a different sponsor at the Barstool Classic, but a cart rolled up with some nice Millers, and I was like, those are my guys.
It
those
was
are my
like
guys the rest of the day.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was like when Indiana Jones had the glow from that golden monkey. Yeah. In the first series, I just grabbed that thing. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was good stuff. So Miller Lite is a taste that keeps the good times going. Whether you're spending long afternoons behind the grill, waiting out a rainstorm at your favorite bar, or telling old stories to the soundtrack of a crackling bonfire, live for those moments with Miller Lite. Because with a Miller Lite in your hand, summer doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Redline, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Just make sure you celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, big man, welcome to the Mid Show, presented by Miller Lite. We have Chael Sonnen coming on later for like an hour.
Yeah, my guy.
Yeah, we got into
so
the
funny.
weirdest shit ever.
Yeah.
Aliens. What else did we get into? Yeah.
DB Cooper, a little bit of JFK. He's just a guy who likes to talk, and he happens to like to talk about all the stuff I like to talk about.
Yeah, he was great. So he came in. We chopped it up about Bellator a little bit as well.
That's why he was here.
Yeah, that's who he's working for. But he wanted to talk about aliens and a bunch of other shit. So it was great. He'll be coming up. Like I said, we did like an hour with him. It was really fun. It was just a great guy to chat with.
Yeah, I like one of those guys. I wish I got his number. I feel like he and I could just be friends.
Yeah, probably. Besides that, we got some guys here in the corner. We got some St. Pat's kids, some college guys, and actually a current student. So they're just chilling in the corner. If you guys see them, wave to the camera. Look at this. We got the boys in here. They won an auction to come in. So
that's what they told me. Yeah. So
exactly.
Everybody just supporting St. Pat's.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're getting the Shamrocks in. We're just like. It's a Shamrock overload. Danny's.
I feel outnumbered now.
Yeah,
because it's always been 2-2. I don't, Dave and I.
Very outnumbered. Dave, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excellent. I was gonna say on the Chael Sonnen note that you and I got to sit ringside.
Oh, dude.
Unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
Unbelievable experience.
Really
I'd never
was.
been that
should have gone
close to a sport. I mean, baseball doesn't really count. Football, I've sat in first row 50-yard line. That was an awesome experience.
Yeah, you should have gone.
Did you get blood splattered?
We easily could have got blood on us.
I don't know. We were 10 feet from the ring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can get some splatter.
Yeah. There was no doubt about it. Blood, sweat, spit.
Do you smell it?
Not really.
I mean, you just listed 3 things that I would never want from another person to ever come near my body.
I mean, they get tested and stuff, so you'd be good.
But I still
no, you wouldn't want that in your body. But
do you want me to spit in your face right now?
No.
Right.
Well, you have all sorts of
diseases.
VDs, you pervert.
Okay. We got children in the room.
Insanely cool though.
Yeah,
insanely cool.
Did you see the someone got a picture of us on TV?
Yeah.
And
on the stream.
They gave us like a free glove. And White Sox Dave is trying it on exactly when the guy takes a picture. So he just looks like he's going to fucking smoke me.
He looked like Thanos putting on the hand.
Yeah, pretty much.
I retweeted it if you can find it. It was just me in the background trying on this UFC glove. I don't know if I've ever put one on before.
Yo, they're a lot bigger than I thought they'd be.
Yeah, they're way bigger. And there was nothing over the thumb, which was weird to me.
They're 4 ounce. Right? Isn't that what they do?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I can't recall. But it was sweet. That was nice.
Yeah, shout out Bellator for the invite.
Yeah.
Probably the best seats I've ever had for an event.
Easily.
Easily.
This is the picture. Can we
Yeah,
zoom in?
Yeah, it's just, you can see
but it's like,
Ed and I in the background.
This fucking
just
bozo's got the glove on. Like he's like smiling at
this
it.
guy's trying to impale some dude's face, and I'm just sitting there distracted with a glove.
Exactly. Dude, they're so fucking sweaty too.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
I mean, you
yeah.
wrestled.
Yeah, I know.
These
but they're
guys,
like,
those are the best athletes
anybody
on
wrestle
earth.
Here? No, just all like football and shit, regular stuff.
How is the Pats football team?
Yeah, grab the mic. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Like 5-5.
All right. Yeah. So what position do you play?
Wide receiver and
Wide-
safety.
All right. Let's go.
All
Plays
right.
both
Do you
ways.
have what's it? A huddle channel?
Yeah, we do.
HUDL. Do you see that? That's like the big.
That was after my time. My brother had
I
one
sit on
now.
huddle all the time still.
Duh.
Yeah, this guy's
All the time.
This guy watches all the huddle. Well, do you really?
Yeah, my
He's an unpaid recruiting coordinator for Northwestern.
basically.
Yeah.
The Northwestern guys will send me, including Tim McGarrigle. No, he doesn't send me these, but shout out Tim McGarrigle is what I should have said.
McGargle, bro.
They'll send me like, hey, what do you think of this guy? And I'll watch and I'll give him my 2 cents.
No, they don't.
I swear to God, he's seen me sitting here probably 3 times a week watching.
People
Yeah,
have
but
asked
I
you
can't
what they think
confirm
of someone.
the
Not-
other part of that.
I mean,
I know
they're
you
not
watch a lot of
basic.
high school tape. for
This is
some
how it
unknown
goes.
reason.
So I'm very tight with multiple people at Northwestern, and here and there they'll send me like, watch this kid, and they don't tell me what they think of him. They'll just want my opinion, and it's like a way for me to sharpen my skills, kind of as a.
Why would they do that?
Why not?
It'd be funny if they were like, should we offer this kid or not? I don't know. Send it to White Sox Dave, see what he has to say.
It's not like that. They test me on my knowledge basically, and I have gotten way better at picking out what makes a good.
Oh, so they're just like
player.
joking around. Like,
I mean,
hey.
they're not asking for my
Yeah,
opinion
yeah,
on
okay.
recruiting, of course.
Yeah. All right.
But there have
that'd
been
be very concerning for the
Over
Cavs.
That's why they went 1-11.
over the last handful of years, since the NILs became a thing, I follow like all. There's I think his name is Brian Farrell. He's a Rivals guy that he controls their transfer portal shit. So he'll be like, this person just entered, and I know exactly what positions they need. Graduating players transferring out, whatever. And if like the other day, and obviously it's hard to get in Northwestern even as an athlete. Stanford offensive lineman entered the portal, and he started like 30 games for him. And Stanford's been just as bad as Northwestern has over the last few years, but they need offensive linemen. And I saw it immediately, shot it over to him. It said red, and then like 3 minutes later, which was the exact length of the video, he's like, I'm on it right now. So like there has been instances where I've seen it first, but it's just because I've been on Twitter first.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah. Good job. Do you want to play in college?
No.
No.
I do not. No.
Yeah. See, so we got Iowa, Dayton, and Kansas. Those are 3.
Now you guys are already in college, you said?
Except
You're
for the
junior.
kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And except for which one?
Me.
You're okay, and you're a junior in high. Going to be a senior or going to be a junior?
Gonna be a junior.
Going to be a junior. Got it. Live it up.
What a time, dude.
Do
What a
the
time.
happy or the Billy Madison what don't get
time.
older.
What a time for sure. But yeah, it was a good time. Are you guys UFC guys? Do you like Bellator MMA?
I mean, I watch it like whenever it's like a good card, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't know like all the details about every fighter. So
Watch McGregor and shit.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Pretty much.
That's the line.
That's a consensus.
on the
yeah.
Northwest side
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, so I think we could probably just get into Chael. So we'll get into that, then we'll come out of it and we'll do some Chicago sports. Does
Yep.
that sound good?
Yeah.
Before we do, though, I want to talk about Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey, the official whiskey of the NASCAR Chicago Street Race, a 2-day racing and musical festival in the heart of Chicago. The first ever NASCAR street race will be held on a street circuit through downtown Chicago and on the shore of Lake Michigan. It's on July 1st and 2nd. Every drop around the world comes from Lynchburg, Tennessee, and there are a lot of ways to make whiskey, but there's only one way to make Jack Daniel's. Jack could have been like any other whiskey. Instead, they charcoal mellow every drop through 10 feet of hard sugar maple charcoal, and they use water from Cave Spring Hollow in Lynchburg, Tennessee.
Yeah. The good stuff.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where it's like we just landed in the right spot. Like you can't plan to have maple charcoal.
Yeah.
It's like that place was put on earth to make whiskey, and they found it, and it's a gold mine.
Yeah, for sure. Make it count, Jack Daniels. Please drink responsibly. Tennessee whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniels and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks. 2023 Jack Daniels. All rights reserved. Enter for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Jack Daniels Balbo Club at the NASCAR Street Race. Chicago Street Race now through June 26th. Text JACKRACE to 68405 or visit jackdaniels.com/shy-race to enter for all official rules.
That's a nice little package.
It's gonna be
right
crazy.
there.
That Balbo Street is right by like the Field Museum. Can you imagine if they just like crashed and rolled up on the lawn?
You know what? I can't
Pretty wild.
imagine a nice pothole taking one of those cars out.
Now they're
Because
fixing all the streets.
I know, but does Chicago do anything right?
NASCAR
I don't think
does.
it's them. I think
NASCAR does.
Oh, so NASCAR. Okay.
Yeah, they'll get it going right.
It's third party. Yeah.
This is going to actually be really cool. I'm excited
sweet.
for that. I've heard nothing but good things about attending NASCAR events from people that aren't actual like born bred NASCAR fans, and they say it's like, dude, I'm going every year anytime it's in town. Go.
Little Jack and Coke, little NASCAR. It's gonna be a great weekend.
Yeah. All right, then. Let's hop into Chael Sonnen. All right, we are in the interview portion of the show. We are joined by Bellator's Chael Sonnen. Chael, thanks for joining us.
Got nowhere else to be. I mean, thank you. Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
You're in town for the Chicago event and just doing the Bellator thing in general. How's it going so far?
I love it.
Yeah.
We're having a great time. I think the number one thing with Bellator, and I want to tell you this because I worked a lot for Scott Coker and I looked a lot with Dana White, and I get asked, what's the difference between the two? And there's not a lot of differences, but I will tell you this. Bellator still, to me, feels like a place that you can go if you have goals and dreams. If you want to play the sports game, which I feel like I helped to create, but some of the entertainment era and some of the bureaucracy, that basically represents every single brand out there except Bellator. Scott Coker still has a place where if you think you're the best and you're willing to put that on the line and you're willing to climb the ladder and truly prove where you stand, Bellator is still a place to do it. There's not many politics over here.
It's just a meritocracy.
Yep.
I like that.
That really is how I feel about it, though. You
Yeah.
know, there's a guy that just had an opportunity, Patrici Pitbull, to fight for third world championship, but he's got a brother who's, you know, the end of July is going to be fighting with AJ McKee. AJ McKee has been argued by many to be the best talent in the entire sport. Not, you know, weights and everything. And there's a lot of people that agree with that. There's very few people in his weight class that push back from any organization. And they're, you know, those two are going to go out and fight again. And I just think there's some really great matches over here. I look at Ryan Bader. The guy can't get any respect. He beats Fedor, goes out and beats Fedor again, and still can't get the respect that he deserves. And I know he's a main eventer and he's making good money, but Ryan Bader should be, you know, solidified as one of the great names ever.
He's
in
a
my
beast,
opinion.
man. He's a beast. I love that Grand Prix you guys did a couple of years ago. What was that, in 18? You were involved in that? I kind of want to go through all of that because in my estimation, you fought like top five, like 3 out of the top 5 biggest legends in MMA ever.
Yeah.
Fedor, John Jones, Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva, yeah.
Like out of the 3, I guess, where did you really feel it? Like, do you get nervous at all, or what? Like, what felt like? Oh, I'm fighting the GOAT right now.
Yeah. I thought I could beat Anderson. I was very nervous about it, but I did have a belief that I could beat him. And the same thing with John Jones, as much as that. It's hard to imagine now because he's just such a great fighter. But I did believe it at the time. When they shut the door behind me and Fedor, I remember thinking, how bad is this going to be before this is over? And like that was going through my mind. And I walked out to Fedor and he hit me with a missile. And it was, I'm falling to the mat, and it would have been like the record fastest knockout ever. It's like 3 seconds into the match. And the only reason I got up is because as I was falling, I thought, if you don't get up, it's going to be the fastest knockout of all time, which currently my friend Ben Askren has when he went down to George Masvidal. So, yeah, Fedor was something special. He still is something special.
When that cage just closed, it was you felt it.
Oh yeah, no. As soon as he got in there with his little dumpy body and his blank stare, I was, what are we? Why are we here?
Yeah,
what are we doing this for?
Yeah, like
Ed and I were talking prior to you getting here, like 2 minutes before you walked in the door, and like he's just a guy I look at on the computer, and I have to like look at my feet because I don't want to look him in the eye on a computer. Yeah, he's just a thick-skulled Russian dude.
Yeah. He's an enigma, though, right?
Right.
And they say that about him, though. They say in Russia that he's treated that way, that Putin treats him a certain way. They say that if he wanted to do something, Fedor, they got a wrestler in Russia named Karelin, and they made him a 4-star general. He'd never been in the military, but he won the Olympics 3 times, and Putin made him a 4-star general. And he serves. He's in the parliament, and that's been going on since the year 2000, the wrap-up of the games in Sydney. I only say that because they say that Fedor is bigger. They say that Putin respects Fedor more than he does Karelin. That's what they say.
Really?
Wow.
That'd be interesting to see Putin's top 5 most respected Russian athletes.
Yeah. And they would all be combat.
You think so?
I really do.
Ovechkin might be in there.
I feel like Ovechkin, like, he had some kind of deal with Putin.
Yeah,
like,
right?
He was like an ambassador for Russia at some point.
Have you been over there?
Yeah, I've never in that capacity. I met Putin one time. We're talking about Putin. If we're talking about Putin, Matt Lindland fought Fedor. And Putin had us over. I was in his corner. He had us over, and the prime minister from Italy was there. And we just sat around this table and had scones and tea.
Oh, how was that?
What year was that? Who was the prime minister?
Oh, that was wonderful. The prime.
Was it Berlusconi or whatever?
It wasn't Blair, by the way.
Okay.
No, Tony Blair. That's French anyway.
England.
I'll tell you this. It was in 2007.
Okay.
We'd have to work backwards.
Yeah.
We'd have to work backwards there.
Well, because that guy's he's like another character.
Yeah,
the
is he
Italian
really?
He's been sued. He's like a billionaire, but he's been sued. He's had like.
Is he still in power?
He was just in the headlines the other day. He's not in power anymore, but I think he went to jail. He got out, but so he would have had stories if you could have.
Well, it turns out you can be a former leader and they can prosecute you. Like I'm just learning this.
Yeah,
so.
I've heard that. Yeah.
You know, speaking of politics, by the way, I tried to reach Portnoy about 2 years ago. Might have been 3 years ago. I tried to reach Port. I went on Twitter. And the problem was I gave him a countdown, like, you have 30 seconds or else, and then he didn't. So it was like, you got 10 seconds to call me. It was something along these lines. I didn't hear from him, but I wanted to talk to him about, and don't forget, the world's a very different place. Dave Portnoy is almost a household name now just for taking bites of pizza. He wasn't this way 3 years ago. I felt as though I had discovered, and I wanted he and Donald Trump Jr. to team up on a ticket.
Who would
whether
be
it
on
was
top?
right away for 2024, who would be on top?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I'd go with Dave.
You'd have to go with Dave,
I'd
right?
go with Dave on the record. Yeah.
And I think if they all got together, the only way it would work is if Trump went on top, is my guess. I'm talking about Jr., Don Jr. And Portnoy on a ticket versus, which is possible, by the way. And they'd probably be taking on Gavin and AOC, by the way.
Ooh.
This could be 28 or 32.
We're talking combat sports right now. That would be the best fight of all time.
That's right.
What video was it?
That's
What were you
exactly
watching? Or were you like, Dave, I think I see it.
Portnoy was doing some stuff back then, and I don't think he wanted to be involved in politics, quite frankly. I think he just wanted to run his business as he had done. He's got a financial risk, and people aren't willing to be nice every 30 days to him, but then he was having the government shutting him down from just trying to go to work. Most people don't like their jobs. I think you guys are probably unique that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm just sharing for you, like, fighting to be able to go to work that's a special person. That's a good person. Used to get credit for those kinds of things when I was growing up. If I had a kid that didn't miss school, they would give him an award at the end of the year, or even at the end of all of the years. And Dave was just very clearly on the right side of it at the wrong time, and he was fighting back, man. He took on the man.
Yeah.
He's unapologetic for sure.
Well, it's honorable.
And
I think
it takes
Eddie
courage
knows
to
him
kind
the
of tell the
best.
truth, or tell whatever you think the truth is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Eddie knows him the best by far out of the three of us, but I think he's not the biggest MMA fan as a whole.
Patty has gotten him into it.
Yeah.
Now
A little bit more. And Patty, and Molly, I should say, too.
But I would assume that, with all due respect to you and your legendary status, he just didn't know who you are. But if he did at the time, he's the kind of guy that if you're loyal to him, he'll go to fucking war for you.
Yep.
And he would have been all over that. Like, oh, Chael Sonnen, UFC legend, MMA extraordinaire. He would have been all over that if he knew that it happened. I bet he didn't even see it.
Well, that's very beautiful.
But we'll
to hear.
get that to him.
Yeah.
We'll get that to him.
I appreciate that. And
We got another election coming up next year.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I just like the
It's not too
idea
late.
that Chael Sonnen is just in people's DMs looking for the next president.
Well, I feel like I
drafting
saw
Dave Portnoy,
we
yeah.
all dream of having a reluctant leader like General George Washington, but they're not now. It's about ego. It's about power.
For sure,
And
yep.
he most certainly, Portnoy struck me as a reluctant leader. He is not going to come forward and say, maybe I should be president to feel the market. He's just not going to do that.
Yeah.
But if he gets enough people maybe doing what I'm doing now and hears it, I think it is possible that he gets on a ticket.
People want
really
a
do.
Maximus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's possible.
Hey, let's take a quick break here from talking to Chael to talk about NASCAR's first ever street race in the heart of Chicago. The biggest names in NASCAR will battle on Sunday, July 2nd for 100 laps in the NASCAR Cup Series inaugural Grant Park 220. Drivers will be tested on the unprecedented 12-turn Chicago street course running through iconic Grant Park. 2-day music festival featuring the Chainsmokers, Miranda Lambert, the Black Crowes, and Charlie Crockett. It's not a bad lineup. It's a
Black
good lineup.
Crowes,
It's a good
they
lineup.
had they had Jimmy Page torn with them for a while. I would be all over that if I knew that.
I like that.
Yep.
The Chainsmokers will get
They get people out.
Yeah.
I've seen Miranda Lambert. I love her husband too. We should actually go see him in Nashville because he plays down there all the time. Charlie Crockett. That's
Good
nice
lineup.
lineup.
It's a good lineup for and that's like the undercard because the
Right,
race
yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be cool. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people are complaining, just stop. Just stop being old. Like I realize once you complain you're old, stop being old. I mean, I'm the biggest fucking old guy there is, so I apologize, but just
I
enjoy.
think I might
it.
have surpassed you on
I
that.
love
Think
complaining.
so? I know,
Maybe.
I do too. But everyone's so like not everyone. Some people. I think when people see it, they're like, "Oh, this is sweet. I'm glad we did this." So
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be very cool.
Yes.
It's gonna be very cool. And 220. That's 220 miles, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
going to
so
be
it's
quick.
a lot. It's a lot shorter.
laps,
yeah.
12 turns is fucking bananas that they're
Yeah.
doing that. So
visually, it's going to be awesome.
I can't think of something that would be cooler than that for a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chicago Street Race, July 2nd at 5:30 Eastern, 4:30 Central on NBC. Go check it out. All right, let's get back to Chael Sonnen. So Chael, I know you have this legendary story, and we've avoided it intentionally because we've been fascinated. We've done multiple podcasts on DB Cooper. If you wouldn't mind, just kind of laying it out a little bit for us on this show.
Yeah, so I have one claim in life, which is that I just know who DB Cooper is, and DB Cooper just to maybe clarify this a little bit more. This flight took place in Portland. That's where
Okay.
I'm from, and,
Yeah.
and it was headed for Seattle, and he jumped out over that. So I just offer you that it's not quite as wild as it might seem. Like this was
Yeah.
a
You
guy
know the
that-
lay of the land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people knew him. He was from around. The problem was for him was the composite sketch. When they did that and they put that out, and that's the one that you see all over the internet, and the guy's in glasses, and he's a skinny Caucasian guy. It looked just like him. I mean, that was the biggest problem. So he was with my mom and my dad, but my aunt and my uncle, he and his wife, they were all out at Chinese food, place called Lee's Kitchen, and my aunt asked him straight up, "Are you DB Cooper?" And he said no. But the way that he said no, they never brought it up again. I mean, at the table that night or ever again. So 2 weeks later, he shows up to my uncle's house, and this is before cell phones and emails and things like this. He shows up to my uncle's house and says, "Hey, about what Paulette asked me at Lee's Kitchen a couple weeks ago." He said, she's not the only one asking that. The FBI's already been to my house. And they didn't go any further. He just said, okay. And he asked my uncle to make sure that did not come up again, that topic did not come up. And that was all that they said. And the reason they suspected him, by the way, they were from a very small hometown, a place called St. Paul, Oregon. They play 5-man football teams, just for example, really small.
Yeah.
My mother's graduating class was of 13 or 15, something along these lines. And this gentleman was jumping out of airplanes. He was skydiving. He was taking skydiving lessons. And the way my mom and dad tell the story, they said most people haven't even seen a picture of an airplane. Most people don't know someone from our hometown, like their parents or their grandparents, that have ever even been on an airplane. If he had been on an airplane, this would be news through our whole city. He's now jumping out of airplanes, and he didn't mention it to his closest friends. He's my sister's godfather. I mean, they are really close. He doesn't mention that he's taking parachuting lessons. And that was years. It was years had gone by before they found some of these photos. And then he'd come into a lot of money, too. He bought 2 4-wheelers. He bought a couple of over-under shotguns, a motorhome. I bring those up just because we could see what he had. And it was kind of a question of where did you come into the money? And he said, well, I'm native. I get Indian money. And that is true. But when we looked into that, just because we got some curious Georges in our house, it was $600 a year. So, it wasn't. And then the one thing with that composite sketch I was telling you guys about, there was only one flight attendant, a female, that was with him from start to finish. I think he might have even handcuffed himself to her, but she was the one that was with him. Everybody else just saw him in passing. So they went and got all these statements from passengers and pilots and about what he looked like to put that composite sketch together. But the one woman that was with him the whole time, told everybody at that time and still to this day, he was Hispanic. You keep saying a Caucasian. He's a Hispanic. And that was the one thing, the pictures, the FBI, anything you read about it, they'll all say Caucasian, except for her. She was close. She had her ethnicity wrong. He's Indian.
Okay,
That is where the
I always
darker
assumed he
eyes.
was this little dinky white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the sketch pulled up right here. It's just a dinky white guy.
And I'll throw one final thing
Looks
at you
like
guys.
Danny.
One final thing is where he jumped was tens of thousands of acres of wilderness.
Well, that's
trees and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that was government land. But what they've never taken the time, I mean, you can pull this up on the internet, that government land backs to Indian land. And he spent his summers there 3 months at a time, every year since a little kid. This was his backyard. So the big thing about him jumping, a wolf would have got him, a bear would have got him, he would have died, the fall, the terrain, you hear all of these different things, unless he's
cold.
jumping into his backyard.
Yeah.
And he was. He camped there every single year. For 3 months a year, it was required.
That's wild because I don't know if are you still curious about it? Like when Netflix releases a documentary or a
Yes.
History Channel, do you still watch those? And
Yes,
you're like-
I do, but I do
Okay.
it with my nose in the air. I look
Right.
down. Oh, here's what they're missing.
Yeah.
Right,
But the
right,
one
right.
thing about Netflix, if I could just tell you, I mean, this last documentary they did, and it's well made, but every 10 years they redo this. They don't ever offer a new detail ever.
It's like Shark Week.
Yes.
Where it's the same- it's the same- yeah.
Somebody else
Groundhog
produces
Day.
it
Yeah.
in some different videos or
Right.
different interviews. They have not offered a single different detail. And these are big ones that I'm putting down. The fact that it
Yeah.
backs to Indian land, the fact that
Well,
he's
that's huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's big stuff.
Yeah, that's something that I never knew. I never knew that he was native. I never knew any of that. That kind of like
Yeah, that's new details.
This is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm so hooked on this.
He passed away a few Christmases ago, just days after Christmas and before New Year's, in Arizona. But his wife moved back, and so she's back in town. And I went up to his grandson. I was at a 4th of July thing, and, they throw a parade and they throw candy at the kids. Anyway, but I said to him, I said, "Hey, there's a thing on DB Cooper coming out. Did you see that on DB Cooper? DB Cooper." I said it like 3 or 4 times, and I looked at him and said, "You got any idea why I keep saying DB Cooper to you?" And he's like, "No, why do you keep doing that?" So I could tell he didn't know.
Yeah.
That was how I felt him out. So I asked my mom, and that Netflix came out, "Hey, what if I go down and I talk with Susan? If I go in and I say, here's what I think, here's what I know. My father on his deathbed told me they were best friends. Do you know this? Do you have any of the money? Do you have any kind of proof that you can leave for? I'll buy it from you. I'll buy it from you now.
Yeah.
Give you $50,000 now in exchange for some piece of proof." And I said, "Mom, what would happen if I did that?" And she said she would slap you for accusing that of her husband, and she'd throw you out of her house. I said, "All right, so you do not believe that she knows?" And she says, "No way. Susan doesn't know."
wow.
That is a
So the
wild
secret
story.
died with him. Officially.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for the most part.
Have you ever thought of producing your own?
Yes, I have in some degrees, or at least being a contributing producer.
Yeah.
But that's where I just needed the info. I needed something. I need a serial number. I need a
Yeah.
bill. I need which I'm sure is the last thing you do if you're you get rid of all that evidence. But yeah, some piece of something that
Yeah.
could tie him there. But I don't even know if she knows he was gone. Like, I speculate, it's, another thing is, how does he get out of the woods? Like, they just stay stuck on that. They absolutely don't know.
I'm stuck on that.
Yeah. Well, the
It's a big
FBI left
woods.
us there, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
They got beat.
Yeah.
And they don't want to admit that they got beat. So then they killed a guy later that was a bank robber. They killed him in a shootout. Go, well, that was DB Cooper. That's what they said. It's like, well, no, wait a minute. You guys said he never got out of there. Like, they
Yeah.
kept changing their story. I even got called by an FBI agent because I did this story that I'm telling you right now on my YouTube channel. And he just said, look, I'm the only one. He said, the thing that you're missing, he said, I've seen your pieces. He said, but the thing that you're missing is that is a closed file. We closed that decades ago. And he said, and even when it was open, he said, it was me and one other agent. And he said, they're not even here anymore. I'm the only one left. So he was just letting me know, like, why? Because I do things like this, and I think the FBI is going to call me. They're going to want to know what I know, and they're going to want to make a deal of some sort, or they're at least going to be curious. And he called to let me know why they're not. He's like, that is not an open file. Anyway, nobody has assigned that case. I was the one assigned it, and I retired 25 years ago.
Wow.
I thought that was interesting.
you
But I believe, because the big thing was the forest. I believe this. This is just my guess. I think he had a motorcycle down there. He used to race motorcycles. I think he had a motorcycle. I think he was home for dinner. That's why I don't think Susan knows that he's going. Yeah, that's all me, though.
This
Yeah.
is so wild.
Well,
Now-
very opposite, though, of what they're telling us that he died down there. I mean, he used
Yeah.
to camp there. He's not dying in the woods.
He knows
no way.
that's his neighborhood.
That's
he knows
his
those.
neighborhood.
What am I? He knows these streets. Oh, it was Peaky Blinders. He's like, we got to get out of here. They know these streets more than we do. You know. Was there ever like a? Because I had these two refresh my memory on the story. Was there ever a bounty on his head or anything? You got to
that
turn
I
the
know
face
of.
of it. It's way
Not
down. Yeah,
that
there
I-
you go.
we
There you
do.
got it.
Not that I know of for that. I meant, not that I know of for that. No, there was probably, call or a
Yeah,
Crime
yeah.
Stoppers. Because don't forget, he only stole $200,000. So, I mean, this is like the ultimate, what was that, Mr. Bigglesworth with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
$1
Right.
million?
Yeah,
It was only $200,000. And they even
Dr. Evil.
recovered like 20 or 30 of it. It was rotten and it was in this water. And so he didn't get out with a whole bunch. I think those shotguns, I think he spent it all. He wasn't really great with money. I think he spent it all between the motorhome, the motorbikes.
He got away with it.
2 shotguns, 2 motorbikes, and a motorhome. And he sold the motorhome, one of the bikes, and one of the shotguns to my dad. So, I mean, when I tell you he wasn't good with money, he went out and blew it on something. He had
wow.
to cash that right out, too. So,
He's got to bring that into Pawn Stars. He's got to, like, that's an episode right there.
DB Cooper's
But he
like-
sure as hell can keep a secret. I mean, whoever DB really was. You know, the cops put down that bank robber and said it was him, but none of his kin or relatives or friends said it was him. I mean, even some brushy Bill came forward in 1950 claiming that Pat Garrett didn't shoot him in the back and that he was actually William H. Bonney. I mean, nobody can keep a secret.
Yeah.
Whoever the real DB Cooper was, man, he kept his mouth shut.
Do you think that he would have ever have tried it again and the FBI kept it quiet because they didn't want...
Sure.
Has there been stories about like something like that?
No, that's fascinating to me. I love the fact that you even asked that. But again, if I could have talked to his wife, my mom said don't do it.
Yeah.
She said it will end our family. Do not do it. She does not know. And I believe that, but my mom had reasons to the fact that would upset her. Not only because you're saying that about her husband, a lot of guys would think it's cool. There's guys that come forward and claim to be DB Cooper. There's this woman on Netflix claiming that it's my uncle, and I mean she was beaming ear to ear like she wanted her uncle to be a scumbag criminal that threatened people's lives. But it was an honor to her,
Yeah.
And she says he's the only one that wasn't cleared from the FBI. This was on the Netflix thing. She says he's the only one that the FBI didn't clear. He was never a suspect. Her uncle. She flat out made that up, or somebody told her that to be cute when she was 5 years old, and much like Santa Claus, she's still repeating it later. That uncle was never. She should have not been part of that piece with Netflix.
I mean, it's one of the greatest American mysteries.
Yeah.
Are you into any more of that kind of thing? Like, do you spend time looking into that shit?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I don't know that I would consider myself a conspiracy theorist, but yes, I do find conspiracies fascinating. I went to Dallas and they redo the day that JFK was shot.
Yeah.
If you happen to go there, it's very special.
There,
If you go, I mean, they redo it. They're dressed like it. They're handing out newspapers from that day. And I think if you just go there, if you just go and look around at just the little things that you can do, because it seems so big on TV, the book suppository and then the jail and the building and the road. No, you can do it all. You can do it all in one spot. You can look. And just with the little things that you can
crossfire.
gather, you will come to a conclusion very quickly that you don't know who shot the president, but it wasn't Jack Ruby.
Or wasn't
Lee Harvey Oswald. Jack was the gangster that killed Lee Harvey.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Do you agree? You did. I mean, do you agree that? Come on, he didn't take that shot. No way.
I think he took a shot. I don't think he was the only one to take a shot. Oh, really? And I think it was like his quote, "I'm just a patsy." Yep. I think they're like, let's put him there. Let's have a fall guy. Do you know about the Chicago one? So he was supposed to come like 3 weeks earlier.
This is Lee. Oh, this is the president.
This is the president. Okay. That he was supposed to come to Chicago 3 weeks earlier, and they I think it was Air Force against Navy or Army are playing at Soldier Field, and he was going to go and do a whole thing. I think it was for Veterans Day. And they had a Secret Service agent who kind of got tipped off, but basically they had a guy who I'm blanking on his name right now, the exact same type of profile as Lee Harvey Oswald. Former Marine, had been to Russia, was kind of like a little bit of a recluse, like a weirdo, that they had him in Chicago at that same time. So it was like if you put their resumes next to each other, he and Lee Harvey Oswald stationed at the same place in Japan for the CIA station, the exact same. And then that operation got blown, so then they just pushed it to Dallas 3 weeks later, and then it was Oswald instead of this other guy.
And that seems more sophisticated than mob stuff. I mean, that feels more like CIA level stuff, but that's interesting.
Yeah, it's very...
And 2 shooters, that's, you're not alone on that. That's a common belief.
I think there's multiple shooters.
When he's in the building, he's on like the 9th floor, and that's a weird angle from a ballistic standpoint. That's a weird angle to take that shot from. But there is a time when the president's coming straight towards him. He doesn't take the shot. He waits till the president goes this way, and that's one of the big reasons why it's like, no, it wasn't him.
To shoot it through an oak with leaves on it, if it was that shot. So.
And they've got pictures of the president's head. I mean, it's like a watermelon with the brain going.
His brain's been missing since 1965. They can't find it.
Very bad and graphic stuff. And I just think it's very hard. Well, your theory is very possible.
Yeah.
I mean, based on just the reasons why I dismissed him, but your theory is very possible.
Where are you at with the WWE now?
What am I doing with WWE? Nothing. I'm just, I just watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a fan, just been observing it. You were asking about conspiracy theories. You want to know a fun one that's still going on, because it's right now, is this alien business. And they're saying, we have Nevada and these people.
Do you want to just be a co-host on our show?
But isn't that great stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes your jaw drop. And the presidents do know. I mean,
This guy doesn't care.
Trump tried to tell us. You know, Trump has done that many times.
Yeah.
He has tried to tell us.
It's like with a wink.
Yeah, but he tried to tell us. He said, "Well, you know, that's stuff that I was very curious in when I got here, and it was one of the first things I looked into." And but he came closer than any president. He did in his own way of speak. If you follow Trump, he tried to tell us that there is at least a belief, at least a phenomenon.
He was chumming the water.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
And they had Obama on David Letterman, and Obama, you know, hey, is there aliens? And he gave some answer, and Letterman says, well, that's what the last president said. And Obama said, that's what they want us to tell you.
Yeah.
And
Who's
but
they?
he
Who's
was
they?
revealing it. Yeah, who's they?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton in 19, because you remember how big this was in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. I mean, the phenomenon was everywhere. It was on every cover of the tabloids, magazines, every single month. And Bill Clinton, when he was running, he said, that is one thing I've always wanted to look into. And I promise you, if I am president, I will look into it, and I will let you know. He got elected president, and he never spoke about it again.
Zip.
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's how they all are.
Same thing with Kennedy.
Yes.
Because you know, there's a famous photo of Clinton and Kennedy meeting when Clinton was like 18 or something like that. And he's like, I'm going to get all this stuff released. And he like signed some executive order to get a bunch of it released. And then it was all redacted.
Sure.
So there is a they. I want to know who the they is.
Yeah, me too.
Who's keeping the Kennedy stuff
Yeah, me
locked
too.
up? Who's keeping the alien stuff?
Big brother, man.
Do you get into this alien stuff with a lot of fighters and people in the MMA world?
I just enjoy it. I know a lot of fighters. George St. Pierre is very famous. He thought that he saw one, but he was in a car full of fighters. One of the industry's
Really?
most famous managers, Ali Abdelaziz, manages Khabib, just to drop a name for
Okay.
you. But he was in the car, and they said that they saw something in New Mexico. And I think that's where a pitfall in human thinking comes from. Like, just because you can't identify it, or just because this person couldn't identify it, doesn't make it an alien. And that's one of the big differences here. Is they continue to say that. It's like, man, we got Chinese war balloons here. We got, it's our protection is not what you think it is. They're telling us that we got to be worried about a social media app. I mean, I'm just sharing with you. If I'm in charge of military, I'm humiliated if that comes out.
Yeah.
I got to worry about the Chinese who have infiltrated our kids in our high schools through TikTok. Like, we're not very good if that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was another thing. They were going to like make them sell it or something like that. That is interesting. But it's also interesting when the Navy says, we don't know what that was. That was like, what do you mean?
That's the
You're
big
the
stuff.
Navy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's the big stuff.
Yeah.
But just to quote, so we're all on the same page. We don't know what it was. That doesn't mean it came from Mars. That doesn't mean it's living here amongst us in another dimension. And that's a pitfall in human thinking. If there's a guy that comes in, I say, guys, I was abducted by an alien last night, and I can prove it. He gave me a special power. I can make that phone levitate without touching it. And then let's say I do. Let's say I've got some power to make the phone levitate. That doesn't mean I was given that power through aliens that put something on my asshole last night. That's just not what it means, but it's what people will think. They fall for it all the time.
Does
So you
mean
gotta
I'd
be
go
careful.
grab a hammer.
Yeah.
Well, when they changed the name, that freaked me out. 'Cause what is it called now?
UAP. Well, then now it's all domain because now that's like it could come from under the water.
Now that would be fucked up if
Yeah.
you saw one come from the water.
Yeah. It's a good place to hide.
That's
Amazing.
scary.
That'd be amazing. If
You
that
would
was the
would
case.
welcome that?
It would be amazing to hear about that. I mean, look, if they're here, we got to find out a way to get along. But there's also a belief that if they are here, that they are a much superior life form. It's like, well, time out. If we're capturing you and you haven't captured us, if you brought an aircraft down here and it broke down, Trump made a good point when he said, I like guys that don't get caught. So as far as us having to worry about them, I don't know if that's accurate.
It could
but then again,
be a single cell organism
Sure.
would be an alien.
I would be nervous about a life form that could figure out how to travel that far.
Sure.
Yeah.
And come up out of the water. Hey, Tucker Carlson believes that, by the way.
Oh, really?
Tucker Carlson put that out just recently. Tucker Carlson put out that Epstein did not die, that he was murdered. He said it very clear he was murdered. This was on a Thursday. I turned to my wife and said, he will be gone. He was gone by Monday. I don't know that they're related. I'm just sharing for you. And then Tucker's very first piece that he put out, he said that. He said that they don't appear to be coming from outer space. The evidence is that they're coming up from the ocean. He was speculating like anybody else, but he was still one of the more mainstream names to say it, not just speculate. He said, oh, no, there's something happening. They're here. Are they us? Are they a life form? Are they us from the future? Are they from Neptune?
Well,
that we don't know.
That's where my brain breaks. Is when it's like, because if you are traveling that fast through, you also have to travel through time, And then I'm just like, well, I don't get it. Sure.
Let-
I'm out.
Let's
Time travel,
say-
I'm out.
Let's say that aliens did land tomorrow. It's you, and you get to pick 4 other fighters to
love
go at them. Who you picking?
Oh boy, let's see. I want some nasty guys. I'd take the Diaz brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I grab AJ McKee, and I'll take his old man, old man McKee as well. It'd be
Okay.
the 4 of us.
That's it? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after that. But it is a very fascinating concept. That they're here, that we've got them, that we're not there. I mean, the presidents are shutting up for something, but but you have to understand, there's a phenomenon of aliens that, like, we can prove that is true, but there are sociological as well as psychological reasons that you could speculate why our military and other government agencies would feint the idea that we've had aliens. And one of them is just to control secrets, which they've turned it out to be a lousy job of doing. And then when people talk about did we land on the moon, you can get into the scientific spot, or you could just talk about the sociological spot, which is nobody can keep a secret. So whoever it was that went into Santa Monica on your set and filmed it, and whoever the fan guy was, they would have ratted out by now.
Yeah.
No one can keep their mouth shut. And that's one of the phenomenons with the aliens. Nobody's been approved to come out and speak on it. I know that's loosened up in the last 12 months, but somebody always does. Whether it's a colonel on his deathbed who told his wife, somebody always
Other than
does.
DB Cooper.
Yeah. Very hard for them to keep their mouth shut. Very, very, very hard. So why not feint something? Why not throw some metal down? Somebody doesn't know what it is. Why not claim that a call was in and a crash happened here and take some of your top guys and see how that paperwork gets
I
shuffled.
love it.
See
Do you
who
get
can keep
into a
their
lot of
mouth
this stuff
shut.
on your YouTube channel? Or
No, I never do. I did on my very first one, and I had my friend Justin Wolf tell me I'm crazy, and he said, "Man, do you think you're gonna go around and talk about aliens?" He said, "You're gonna come off as a crazy," and I
That's
stopped.
not exactly true, though.
That was 6 years ago. I never spoke about it again.
Right?
If you had listened to him, you'd be Joe Rogan.
Do you know who Tom DeLonge is?
I know the name.
He was He's back with Blink-182, the band. Forever, everybody just thought he went fucking Looney Tunes, And over the last 12 months or so, it's like that guy was onto something because he just like he didn't quit music, but dedicated a large portion of his life to like getting the truth about aliens out there. And everyone just thought, like I said, he was just going crazy. Like, get this guy into the nut house. And over the last 12, 18 months or whatever, it's been... People are like, he was kind of right.
Yeah. It is fascinating, and one thing that we have learned through SpaceX and Elon Musk. I mean, look at what NASA did and all the money and the trillions and the support, and Elon steps in on day one and is accomplishing. I mean, this really is shocking.
For like a fraction of the cost. Yeah,
but if we couldn't get NASA to tell us anything that they've seen, SpaceX would. And they haven't said anything yet. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure, and you got to understand, if you're Elon Musk and they're letting you put satellites up in the sky, I mean, if you have that level of creativity, you're getting pushed around by. You would be tempted in some regard to send a weapon up there. And if Elon Musk did that, he could quite literally control the world. Now I'm in a way further. But I'm saying they're letting him do this. They don't understand what he's doing. They never understood what they're doing. You had the chance to do for 50 years what it took him 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suggest for you, because when they do talk about they've got these bodies and is it an alien life form that come from the water? Maybe, but we have a version of robots that are coming out too. And they're pretty good nowadays, and they're a lot better than they used to be. So why could China not have a robot that's way further ahead? It didn't quite look human, so you think it's alien, but that's actually a machine. I mean, those things aren't unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I see people that go to the crash sites and they collected a metal, and this metal isn't made from Earth. I'm a smart guy. I would have no idea, and neither would they. Nobody knows what metal is being produced in Michigan or is being produced in Wyoming. Like, they don't know this. So they come out and say this isn't of American products or worldly products. Come on, man. You don't know that stuff.
It's actually amazing that Elon's made it so far. Like, I thought they would have had him because he's such a disruptor.
Yeah.
They would have just taught. Like,
I
that we
feel
did
like they've
That's
tried.
a perfect word for him.
Yeah.
Like, we've done. We did. There was a guy who made a water powered car. Did you ever hear about that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, and he died mysteriously.
Yeah, mysteriously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me a little more about that. Just
You would
refresh.
know more.
This was in the 80s. So we did this podcast like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's the late 80s. And he was like, I can make a car that just, you go to the faucet and has a combustible engine that runs on water. And it's something where he would split, I think he was almost sounded like kind of like almost like a nuclear reactor where it was running on the energy from, it was not a steam engine. It was basically you split the hydrogen and oxygen atom in water, and that source is kind of what powers the car. And he would show, hey, we're going to run 300 miles on a gallon of water. Like, here we go. And there's like speculation on how it actually worked, if it was real, blah, blah, blah. But that guy died a mysterious death.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. His name was Stanley Meyer. He died
Yep.
suddenly on March 20th, 1998, while dining at a restaurant. He was meeting with 2 Belgian investors, and Meyer suddenly ran outside saying they poisoned me.
Yeah.
Really?
And then he dropped
He
dead.
yelled, they
Yeah.
poisoned me.
Racism.
And they didn't go arrest him for that? I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Coroner said it was like high blood pressure and a bunch of other shit. So
Yeah.
they ruled it out.
And then it's like the
He
same
thought he was
thing with
poisoned.
like I just watched this. Highly recommend. Oliver Stone came out with a nuclear energy documentary,
Okay.
and it's like
It's
all
a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's on Amazon Prime right now, but it's basically like all of they get into like who is funding these environmentalist groups and who are like anti-energy. It's the Rockefellers and like and BP and all like the big oil companies are the ones who are backing these environmentalist groups who are like, oh, we're about the environment, but it's really not. They're just like, we want you to go after nuclear energy because that will kill our business. So they have like all this basically like $200 million at a time propaganda machine posing as like these hippie environmentalists who are really just trying to stop nuclear energy because it's bad for their business.
Sure.
So I wonder like how much of that is going on. And it goes back to like that question, like who is they? There's this like kind of famous interview of Putin. And he's talking about, he's like, hey, like I've dealt with like 4 or 5 U.S. presidents at this point. They all come in, they all have these interesting ideas. Then the men in the dark suits come in and tell them what they're actually going to do.
Yep.
And it was like, what? Like, so there is some kind of, I don't know, there's some kind of permanent government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I mean, this is a fascinating thing that you're saying right now, and I didn't know that about the environment. I appreciate that story.
Something really funny that just kind of clicked in my head, but I have become over the last 2 or so years a huge MMA fan. Went and saw Izzy and Pereira at MSG in last November, like 9 months ago. Ed is also a big UFC mixed martial arts fan. Ryan is not. We're trying to start him on it.
I'm a novice.
He's an extreme novice. So he walks into the office just before you got here. He's like, hey, should I be in this? Like, it's just you two yucking it up. He's quarterbacking the whole interview.
That's true, yeah.
Hey, they'll win you over, man. They're doing some great events. I got to go.
It's such an awesome sport.
It's so good. It's
such
the
an awesome
energy
sport.
as well. You know, if you ever a chance to go live, you'll feel it on television. You know, but that energy when you're there live,
incredible, man.
Last Scott Coker event I went to was Fedor's retirement party, and they brought that to L.A. And a lot of people couldn't figure out why. They brought Fedor in from Russia. They brought Bader in from Arizona. Why are they retiring in L.A.? Well, then we found out because it was stunning how many stars came out to this thing. From the Stallones to the Schwarzeneggers to the Mark Wahlbergs. I mean, it was really unbelievable. Are you guys watching that show? It's called 1923.
Yeah,
Western?
I watched it. Yeah.
I'm just about to start.
The guy, the nephew.
Yeah.
The nephew, when they go, I've met your nephew, and he wasn't very impressive. And she goes, not that one. I met that nephew.
Oh, really?
Yes, the actual nephew that's coming in. He was sitting 2 rows behind me. Yes.
Okay,
I said, hey,
yeah.
are you in that movie 1932?
Yeah.
That TV show? And he said, yes. So anyway, that was a real thrill. I was in the bathroom and Jeremy Piven was in there. I mean, I'm just saying, like, this was a who's who. The energy in this place was unreal that came out just to show their respect to Fedor. A great that... You know, I know they don't know him and he doesn't speak English, but they had so much respect for him. And that was awesome.
So that's like one of those things, right? I've always loved boxing. I'm a hockey guy, love hockey fights. I like the violence. There's something like I can't understand what they're doing necessarily. Like, I need to learn more to appreciate it in a different way. But when we had a fight night here, awesome. When I had buddies back in the day, this is probably 10 years ago, who were like, they lived in New Mexico for a little bit, so they got hooked, and then they moved back, and they were like, that was like when John Jones was coming up, like, you gotta like, so we would go out, we would watch the fights, and I've always been entertained by it, but it's like, I don't have like, when it goes to the ground,
This is what was recommended to me, and I would like to hear your take on this, is Dustin Poirier, for no reason at all, was the guy that I watched, like, you know, his 5th fight through his 25th fight. And just kind of watching the come up of a young guy, that's what hooked me. And it's so much better than a real sport. Not a real sport, but like a team sport, because those teams usually piss you off. Sure. But like MMA as a whole is just it's a spectator sport. You're rooting for just carnage, you know, and you're gonna get it.
So give me a Bellator guy that you think
let's end
has a
on that.
bright
Yeah,
future?
because you got a
great.
loaded day. Give us 3 Bellator guys who are like, put these guys in your file. They're
Well, I got to throw Ryan Bader in there just out of respect.
Yeah.
And in his career, maybe he's a little later and you're looking for younger guys. But I just really feel he needs to get his due. Being a double champion, it's really a remarkable thing. And he was not supposed to do it at heavyweight, by the way. He was not supposed to beat Moldavsky. But he did in one of the hardest fights he's ever been in for 25 minutes. I got to give him some respect. I'm going to go AJ McKee. And I must confess, this is kind of a respect to his old man. His old man and I fought. We were kind of the same era and whatnot, and wrestling background. But I've just followed him, and he's the real deal, AJ McKee. Okay. And we got another guy, Nurmagomedov. He's the champion of the world, 155 pounds. He's was 16-0. He's now 17-0. How many times that is to get it right? How many times the training camp has to go well? The flight's got to go well. You got to be healthy. You can't be injured. You got to make weight. 17 times this guy did it. Those would be my 3. Am I squeaking over here, guys? Am I bumping into something?
You're good.
All right.
Well, Chael, thanks. We appreciate it.
Whoa. What is this? You're done? I just got here.
I was just being respectful.
You can stay all day.
Whoa.
Are we good?
No.
Right,
I have many
with
questions.
that.
I have many questions.
Let's
All
go.
right.
All right.
You understand the Bellator roster, though. I mean, I would actually like to put that over only because, and you're the one that mentioned it. You talked about taking 5 guys and Dustin Poirier and starting at 5 fights and go to 25. You got to buy the best talent in there. This is a star-driven sport. That's true. But every promoter would like to be the guy that creates that star. That is where they get that actual. Guys, Scott Coker and Dana White. These guys are rich. They're in a different game. This is where they get their value. I made him. I discovered him. We have never had a roster that is as homegrown, to your guys' word, as we have right now. Guys who started, guys who got their chops, guys who debuted on TV in this organization. They're now our main eventers. They're our main carders. They're our number 1 contenders. They're our champions of the world. That's a special time. Yeah. And there's some luck that goes into that. Promoter will rework that and say, I had this whole thing planned. There's some luck that goes in there. Yeah. But there's a lot of risk taking. There's a lot of planning, too. And Coker definitely deserves his credit for that. By the way, these glasses. Are these sunglasses? Because I see there's a tint.
Yeah, they're sunglasses.
No, I mean, are they prescription glasses?
No,
That's
they're
what
not.
I meant to say.
I got fighter pilot
These
eyes.
are.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, these are. That's why I have to wear.
Sharp.
Well, you know, it's a kind of guy that wears sun inside a shaded glass. So you know, I'm not that kind of guy. But they're prescription. They're all that I got. Boy, it's hard. You know, this is hard. Now you guys look great. So here we are.
Those are nice glasses.
They are. Yeah.
Those are sweet.
Cool look.
What do you get? What do you get the most when people come up to you and they're like, "Wait, remember that? Is it the Wonderlight Silva thing?"
Yes. Yep. The silver one was a big one, and sometimes people get them confused. Even my own son, who's quite a fan, this guy over here, but he Vanderlei Silva and Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the same story, but a different guy. Yeah. There was something about that. But those were great memories for me. I mean, you know, I don't forget. I remember everything that was said and every punch that was thrown, and you know, that was my life, even though it was a long time ago. Those memories are.
Yeah.
Right? You guys can relate. High school, it was yesterday.
Oh, that's all we do is talk about high school stories.
If you could pull it up. He takes him down in flip-flops. Oh, yeah. Pull it up.
Thank you.
Are you going to have is your son going to be a fighter?
Well, he is a boxer now, but
awesome.
he hasn't. They don't hit each other yet. He's working on the fundamentals, and he's learning. And he's really liking it. He got second in the state for gymnastics, which is what I'm encouraging. Yeah, because of the flexibility,
core strength. Yeah, hell
and
yeah.
He hates it. I tell people he got second. He gets mad. He doesn't want me to even tell people that he does it. I said, son, it's so honorable. You know, he's 8 years old by 1 week. He did 21 pull-ups the other day. That's got to be a lot of pull-ups.
A week.
Right, like I don't even. That'd take you a week.
He's telling you to zip it right now.
I don't know what other kids can do, but that strikes me as a lot of pull-ups. And I think that would come in handy somewhere.
Yeah.
So, at any rate.
Hell yeah, that's a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah. Will he be a fighter was your question. I'm playing it for the people that don't know. He's off camera here. He does not have to be. That's the message that I want to give him. He doesn't have to be.
Right. If he wants to be cool, if not cool. That's awesome. Jamal Hill. What can you tell me about him?
All right. So Jamal Hill is probably the most unpolished champion of the modern era. You got guys that are black belts in this. Yeah, they're golden gloves in that. And they were Olympians over here. And they brought it all together. He's not. He's a former college basketball player. Oh, by the way, he looks like a guy that probably played basketball in college. Like, he doesn't look like the football player in the big... He is such a good competitor. He believes in himself. He has a way to stay calm under pressure. He just went championship rounds for the first time, which surprised a lot of people. I think that if there's anywhere where you got a dream of being a world champion, that's the opportunity right now, because you don't have the most skilled guy. But I'm not putting him down. What I'm talking about is he's the champion of the world now with a whole bunch of potential left. That's a very scary thought.
For sure. He knows that he kind of backdoored him into that title, you know. But I guess he's going to be fighting Pereira next.
Yep.
Which would be incredible.
Yep.
I think Pereira's too big for what's he at right now?
205.
Not sure.
Yeah, that's what Jamal's been at too. Yeah.
And I'll throw this one thing is Pierre has to beat Blachowicz, but it looks like they are waiting for that fight, and Pierre is the favorite, and then we'll draw on two. And you know, when I talk about having that potential, though, it's so important. Like, and you guys know this from sport, but you can learn so much in those first 2 years. But for the next 20 years, you'll never cover the ground that you know. It's just one of these things, and you know, I keep on massaging the ego of this Antonio McKee. But if you guys just aren't watching AJ, he's a very special guy, but he's also got some real human skills. He doesn't have a whole bunch of kids running around. By example, he got his education when he stayed in school, and he finished and got his diploma. Just by example. He understands the entertainment aspects, but he understands when to focus and when to train. He's respectful to his own father, who's in his corner. I mean, I just think that he's got some real traits that people could look up to, and I do not think he's done. Yeah, I do not think he's done. I think
that's the funny thing. I've met like
got a lot of
5, 6 names, like Aljamain Sterling, Curtis Blades. We've met a bunch of them at this point, and every single one of them are just nice as can be. Juliana Pena.
Sure, she's great.
Just sweethearts.
The Vixen.
You know?
Yeah.
Venezuela Vixen.
It's crazy to me. Like, you guys are born, bred warriors trying to decapitate people, and you're just all awesome.
That's really nice. Thank you for that.
Now that the sport has way more eyeballs on it than it did 15, 20, 30 years ago, are you seeing guys who may have opted for football, basketball,
Great question.
now being like, you know what, I'm just an elite athlete, I'm going this route?
Yes.
So are fighters better today than they were?
Oh, most definitely. Particularly the
more
heavyweights.
athletic, at least.
Yeah, I mean, big guys didn't go into combat. Come on, that's just not what a big guy did. He had so many other options. And I think that Jamal's a fine example. I don't know that he was league worthy for the NBA, but I'm just suggesting that he was paid, he was on a scholarship, his college was covered, and he switched over and came into MMA. That's odd. We've had a number of guys that had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I think 5 guys in total that did NFL time and then came over to the sport. And yes, they are definitely getting better as athletes. I was there I used to sit and ask myself, what do you have to do to be a good fighter? And I didn't want to get tattoos, but you had to get tattoos to be a good fighter. But I believed this. Everybody had tattoos, but other fighters did too. They thought you had to be mean around town. They thought you had to, take parking spaces and push people. Like, they really thought this. There was this jerk era, but we thought, okay, that's what it's going to take to be. I don't know why, but we did. This is how much we learned. Randy Couture was the first world-class athlete, the first guy that stepped in that had Olympic aspirations that, he's a college recruiter at the time for Oregon State. He was the first guy to step in and treat it like a sport. I'm going to train in the morning, I'm going to train at night. I'm going to have strategies. I'm going to have conditioning sessions. I'm going to have coaches to break down film. Right. Simple as that sounds, and it's what everybody does now. When Randy started doing that in 1997, it was unheard of. And, like anything, when one guy comes and the next and the next all right, you know what? This is feeling a little forced at this point. I can tell you guys are done with me. I'm going to ask you one quick question. This is one quick question. What network is Bellator on?
Bellator is on
Showtime. That's right.
Yeah, I was going to say Showtime.
Showtime.
You should have given me that.
Showtime.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to say.
By the way, check your guide. We usually play Friday nights, 9:00 Eastern, but sometimes it's Saturday, so just keep that in mind. Showtime. Check it out.
You got
I've had it with you guys.
One last question for you.
All right.
One last question for you.
Give me your charitable question. Go ahead.
No. This is.
I will stay here.
Here's your
for
hat.
4
What's your hurry,
hours.
Chael?
I want you to pitch him in like 15 seconds or less. Pitch him on MMA.
The one thing that you will find in this sport that you won't in other places, first off, is accessibility. If you have a fighter that you like, you can go find him on Twitter, and he will get back to you. Dana White encourages
totally
that. Scott
true.
Coker encourages that, whereas Goodell and some leaders in other sports stay off of that
social
stuff.
media, right.
That's one of the things. But then secondly is you'll have some incredible storylines. One thing that happens with football, basketball, and baseball, right, is they just have a preset schedule.
Yep.
The guys come in, they don't even know how it gets formed. They throw it down on this dates. This is where we're going to play at this time. The sport of mixed martial arts, guys will be calling each other out. Guys will have reasons for fighting. They will have something that they want to fight about. Yeah, they'll have some actual animosity.
Real.
Yeah,
palpable.
that's right. It's real. It's authentic. None of it's manufactured. But why we're here is important. You know, why LeBron needs to have more points than Steph Curry has never really been explained to us, but it will be explained to you why McKee has got to beat Pitbull in this next fight, just by example.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. So McKee is going to be my guy. I've decided.
You would love him.
Okay.
He won't let you down.
All right.
Yeah. He might not win them all. He has won them all so far. He might, but I'm just saying he won't let you down as a person.
Well, as a Chicago sports fan, winning is not a prerequisite for me to like him. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
By the way, I was here one time, and it was the day that Blachowicz, it's not Blachowicz.
Blagojevich?
There you go. Went in. But when he went, I was here. I drove past the building where he was inside. But when he went in, he represented 3 for 3 of your governors that were in federal prison. The previous one before that, he was going to join over there.
He was just in here a couple months ago.
Yeah. Good guy?
Yeah.
What does he do now?
He's entertaining as shit, man.
What does he do now, though? How does he support his family?
They did a documentary about him, so I think he might have had something to do with that.
I don't really know. He said he'd play on my bocce team, though, so we're gonna
and if
get
you
out
do
there
enough time, I mean, you could you get a full. But I would think if you went to the Hooskow, that would probably void that out.
But he has the conspiracy too. He thinks
you would love this.
He
guy.
was too much of a disruptor that he.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Well, I think that a lot of those things are true to motivate somebody. I mean, he tried to sell a Senate seat. That happened.
Yeah,
and he's always kind of pushed away from that. And I feel like he
was on the phone with our current governor.
Right. I think he should just say, here's what you're missing in that call.
Yeah. When are you in town next? We'll get a sit down, you, him, and all of us.
Yeah, I would love to do it. I do think it's interesting. But whenever you try to go the conspiracy route, I mean, you've got to offer something. Yeah. We've got him on tape doing that, and he never speaks to that ever. Yeah. He never says that was.
He
edited,
says like 90% of the tapes, like audio, just is locked in.
Yeah.
In the treasure chest of government secrets.
He told an amazing Trump story too.
I know
it was
from The Apprentice, probably, huh?
Well, no, not even
kinda.
that. So when he was governor, he said he went to a Klitschko fight at MSG, and so he was in office, so he had security, and right with the Klitschko had like a 4th round knockout, whatever, and they were heading to the elevator, and his security was ahead of him clearing out the elevator. They said they saw him pull a person off and a woman off. And as he was walking in, he walked past the people. He was in the elevator, and it was Donald and Melania. And he was like, oh, shit, they just kicked, Donald Trump and Melania Trump off of the elevator for me. He's like, Donald, come on.
Before he was president.
Yeah, let's take a ride. This was 2004, whatever. Sure. And he's like, I thank God every day I brought him on that elevator because there's no way I get a pardon.
Trump is a grudge guy. Yeah. He's a big-time grudge guy.
He's right. That's a great story.
For sure.
Those little things go a long way.
Yes.
Those little things go a really long way. That's a really interesting story.
It was great. Yeah,
yeah. I'd love to hear that on Rod though. Yeah, if you could set that up, I would really enjoy that.
The guy is a perfect just lob question 2 guy.
He's great.
He's awesome.
Yeah,
sure.
He's great.
If you had the Senate seat, though, I mean, it's for sale. You're not giving but you can't say the words. See, that was the problem. You got to speak like a gangster. Like, you get them on the phone, you never say the words, and then they're smart enough to know and make you the offer, or they aren't. That's the people you work with. As soon as the words come out, you got to say, no, wrong guy, click. You got to assume they're listening in.
But wasn't it Pritzker who he was on the phone
it was
with?
Pritzker, yeah.
Who's our current governor. So the guy on the other end of the phone call,
he had conversations with him. I don't know if that was a specific one where he talked about that, but there was taps from him. Yes.
Yeah. Well, some of those tapes are out there.
Yes.
He's talking to Pritzker
You're
about
right.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's like this guy, and now he is the governor.
Yeah. Trafficant. You guys know him? One of the greats. Trafficant was a congressman from Ohio, and this is back when this was some of the most dangerous streets out there, and Trafficant was taking all sorts of bribes. He was getting all sorts of bribes. So they take him to court, and they're going to put him away. He decides he's going to defend himself, and he cops to all of it. Oh, yeah, I took the money. I did that because I was doing an investigation. I was seeing how far I could go and who was dirty so I can clean this damn town up. And they said, and you can do that. You have to bring somebody in. You got to bring in the chief of police. You got to bring in the FBI. There has to be somebody that's helping you with this, and then you can go do that. He said, no, I couldn't trust any of them. He said, I think the mayor might be dirty. I think the chief of police might be dirty. I had to do this on my own. I had to step forward. And as congressman, I supersede all of them, and therefore I don't need their permission. And it was a damn good argument, and he was this close to making it stick. Instead, he had to go do a little time. But that was an interesting argument, right? Like Blachowicz could have come up with something a little bit better than that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, he's convincing when he tells fully unabridged start to finish story. He's very convincing.
I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but I would like if you're very interested in it. It was
an incredible
really good.
interview, and the guy's so entertaining.
So you feel as though he has at some point touched on that phone call, touched on what we have all heard, and he does have a way.
Oh yeah,
to change the context of that call. All right, I've never heard that from him.
It was Eddie, another one of our coworkers, and Rod in the side room over here, and Eddie says it perfectly. He's like, "Hey, I'm just at this point conditioned to believe that all politicians are full of shit in everything they say, and you are very much included in that." And Rod's like, "I get it. Like, I would be saying the same thing you are if I was in your position." But he's like, "I did the time." It's like not like I didn't walk the walk.
Yeah.
Like I went to prison because I refused to admit this. That's how and it's like shit, man. You should listen in here. It's great.
Yeah,
I
am
love to get you
interested.
two
If he has
into
got
a
an answer
room
for that, I'm
together.
interested because I heard him doing his excuse tour, and he was talking about like he was a victim, and they came in, and he's a sitting governor, and his kids are there, and they've got drawn guns. I mean, he touched on a little bit of everything that did sound like there was other ways to do it, except for that phone call. Yeah. I've never heard him explain how they got him on tape selling a Senate seat. I just haven't heard that. If it's out there, I'll go listen. I just haven't heard it.
Yeah, I got
What is it, like an hour interview?
Yeah.
And by the way, I like him. I mean, the kids I like best in life are the ones I met right outside of the principal's office. Like, I'm not giving him a hard time. I'm just saying that, it was good. He let him in the elevator. It was probably good, or he'd still be doing a little time.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
100%.
And many would think
just be getting out this year. I think.
Yeah, that he belongs there. So,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, Chael.
Showtime.
Showtime.
Bellator. McKee.
McKee's the guy.
Boom.
McKee's the guy. Storley Ward is coming in. Bellator 298.
And it's
Hard
down
fight,
to
bro.
Paul.
Hard fight.
It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Ward was a knucklehead. Ward was a tough guy from the streets. He's got a girl and he's got a kid. He's got all this. He's just like a movie. He was a knucklehead. He got into alcohol and he got into opiate, whatever the streets had to offer. He put it all behind him. Put it all behind. Coker gave him one last chance and he did it right. And he even told Scott, he said, I can't afford to do this. I mean, I just can't afford training camps. I've got 2 different jobs. I'm exhausted all the time. Coker fronted him money so that he could just focus. So I'm going to give you get one shot at this, get it right. But he did, and he put together the best fight he's ever had. Most entertaining, came from behind, stopped the guy. Ward is a winner. Ward's a beautiful, beautiful story. That's a hard fight he's got with Storley, but he's a very good story.
Awesome. We'll go check it out on Showtime, Bellator. Thanks, Chael.
Boom.
All right, so that was Chael Sonnen. Great guy.
Yep.
Great conversation.
He pulled an Ozzy. He's like, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
That's all we got? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
he-
leaving yet.
yeah,
We
I
got
didn't-
more to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't really.
You can say
Yeah.
as long as you want.
They give us a time, and I always just try to be as
Yeah,
respectful
of course.
as possible. But it's always great when they're like, "No, dude,
I want to hang out.
I'm hanging out.
We're chilling.
We haven't solved the Kennedy assassination yet.
Yeah, I want to be here." Before we continue, we're going to get into some Chicago sports, like I said off the top of the show. I want to talk about the best spot to buy a ticket to a sport this summer, or even a concert, a show, event. Doesn't matter.
Morgan Wallen coming up at Wrigley.
Yeah, today
Cubs
and
are
tomorrow.
on fire.
Yep. So go do it. Created by fans for fans. You guys know it's a Game Time app, the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. Like you said, Morgan Wallen, Cubs, Sox.
Ryan and I used it for the Dead show.
Yeah,
Yep.
Windy
2
City.
Saturdays ago.
Yeah.
Windy City Smokeout's
Yeah.
coming up. Everybody's asking me for those tickets, and every time they do, I'm like, dude, check out Game Time. You'll have tickets in 30 seconds.
Beautiful. That's the spot to go. So the purchase process takes just 2 taps and 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text. So you can get into the game seamlessly, skip the hassle, and enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem code MID for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. All right. We could start with White Sox players privately expressing trades.
Not even privately, right? I feel like Gio had a comment where it was like, yeah.
He said he wanted to be here.
But he was like acknowledged that this could be the end kind of thing.
But that's not anything new with Gio. He's been very outspoken about he's big time players. He's the White Sox player. He's one of 8 players in baseball that is like the middleman between the players union and the ownership group. And he's the White Sox player rep, one of 30 of the, or one of 60 of the. I think there's 2 per team. But yeah, he's always been outspoken about that. He's going to go to the highest bidder, which he should. And with how dog shit the organization is perpetually, but on a micro level this season, I would be counting down the days if I were him. I'm surprised he didn't demand a trade like Kenny Power style, like right there in that press conference. I wish he would have. Yeah, I'm fucking out. Atlanta, you're fucking out. Exactly. So I would be like praying to God I get dealt if I were someone like Giolito, Anderson, whoever. Anybody that has any ounce of value, I'd be like, get me out of this organization.
I did read an article in The Athletic this morning. It said it was like their top 100 trade board. And they said that infielder most likely to be traded, Tim Anderson. Starting pitcher most likely to be traded, Giolito.
I would say those two.
That's kind of like 2 years ago. That was the heart of your team.
Heart and soul, of course.
I wonder if there were any funny people who requested the trade. You know, like guys who are just like, fuck you, like Mike Hatta or something.
I mean, who cares? There should be nobody, aside from probably Robert, because he's extended for so long and he's actually been pretty good. Like, nobody should be off limits. But they're going to try to do the rebuild, retool thing that they've done forever, my entire lifetime, and it's not going to work.
84 wins, something like that.
Yeah, and
I don't know, man. Can they? That's psychotic if they do.
That's what they're going to do.
But you don't think there's any way they snap out of it? And like,
no,
hey,
I don't.
They'll never cave.
Wait, what are you talking about? Cave to what?
Cave to like actually doing something
correctly. But no, I don't think.
They did the full.
You have no reason to.
They did the full teardown last time.
That's
how they got with this whole core.
They've never done a full rebuild like that.
You wouldn't say the year they got rid of Sale and then they traded.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the first time they had ever tore it down to the ground.
But they just did it and didn't work.
It took them years and years. They never done it over my lifetime. Call it 30 plus years. Like, so I saw a list today of, it was actually Ken W.O., that fucking loser. He ranked his managers of his lifetime. The first manager I remember, like, very specifically was Terry Bevington, and I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. And so before that, I'm not counting any of that. So call it the last 25 years, like, where I can remember most Sox players and games, and managers and moves and acquisitions. They've never done a full-scale tear down, build it back up, aside from 2016. It's always been just, shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. And I don't think there's no way they do that again. Because that would be Han kind of signing his death warrant.
The longer you fucking wait to admit defeat, the more you're in a hole.
Of course. Yeah. But we're talking about stubborn assholes, man. Stubborn assholes.
Wasn't there the quote or the leak about Jerry with the whole La Russa thing, right? Like we
that was Nightingale. Yeah, we talked a little bit about that last week. Yeah.
So that same line of thinking, if Jerry's the guy who just wants to retool, get to 500-ish, keep the ballpark moderately full, and he got talked into last time, we need to do the full teardown, and he greenlit that, and they get back
begrudgingly, didn't want to do it.
Right. And hey, we tried it your way. We're going to do it my way.
That's exactly where those quotes came from Nightingale.
I understand that. So I'm saying, like, so if he's doing that about the manager, he's probably doing it like, with a rebuild? Fuck you. We can trade off some of these guys, but we're going to keep Cease. We're going to keep Robert. We're going to keep, the core of this team and just kind of roll it out there again.
That's exactly
forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to go back to Jerry's way, which is this stupid fucking 75 to 85 win team. Sometimes a lot worse, and then once every 10 years maybe a 93 win team, and once every 45 years since he's owned the team a World Series, maybe.
I don't know, though. Griffel said the division's still up for grabs.
It is. They went 3-7 in their last 10 and only lost one game in the standings. It's so at the Barstool Classic this week, it's like there's an event every weekend. I think they said 27 total events a year. That's crazy. It started at 4 events for the Classic, whatever. But it's not like if you're from Chicago, you go to the Chicago one. We have people flying from all over the country. So naturally, I talk to every fan base. I talk to Royals fans, Tigers fans, Twins fans. I don't think I saw any Guardians fans, but like the general consensus was this is the worst division ever. It is so bad. And so, yeah, the division is there for the taking. And I do still probably dumbly, because I mean, we're in the latter third of June right now. This was their hardest month schedule-wise. It's just nothing but like AL Central trash. They'll probably win the division and just get cream pied.
You still think they're going to win the division?
Yeah, they were 10 games back 3 weeks ago, and they're 4.5 now.
I know, but
I mean, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a plus 1,500 future on them. I'm still confident in that. I still love that number. But I mean, that's not the goal to be the.
Yeah.
I don't even want to.
I just feel like they are going to sell some of these pieces, right? I mean, they have
Yeah,
to.
but they'll get like a big league player back, and he might be okay.
Together.
Yeah. That's all it is. Perpetual cobbling. Roster cobbling. They don't do anything right. And it's really sad. And it's like Ryan and I were talking with Megan. I don't know where she's at today. Like it's so disheartening for me personally that it takes the joy of the entirety of watching Major League Baseball away from me. Like I can't sit and watch like a quality baseball. Say the Dodgers are playing Houston, whoever, like two good organizations. Like when I watch them, I appreciate that these teams are playing baseball the way that it's meant to be played. They don't make dumb fucking errors and shit like that every night. But on the flip side, it's like these two organizations, or even the Rays, you can use the Rays even though they have like a $75 million payroll, like a fraction of what the White Sox have. They do things the right way and they are successful. And it just makes me mad knowing the White Sox refuse to do it. So like I can't even watch baseball right now. Like I'll have the White Sox on TV.
Which is the only thing you like.
That's the only thing I like. It's
a sad life.
It is. It's a very sad life.
People wonder why you're grumpy.
Yeah. Well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
Danny, thoughts?
No, Dave nailed it. He said everything I wanted to say. Hopefully, Dave, you will stop being this grumpy, and hopefully the White Sox can fulfill your happiness.
Appreciate that, Danny.
Won't happen, though.
It won't happen, and even though that you don't believe anything you just said.
I'm being cordial for the kids.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. Cubs are good.
I don't think they're good.
But like
I'm surprised though. Like I thought, like the hot start, and then once they kind of sank a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought like, all right, this is it. I didn't think they'd really resurge back like that. I thought maybe they like hover around, bounce up and down a little bit.
Which is kind of what they're doing.
That's gonna happen.
No, but
again,
9 of
though.
11's like a pretty fucking.
I mean, we're
formidable
recording this
stretch.
on Wednesday. They're playing right now. Hendricks is pitching. They're on the verge. Like they kind of like. If they win today, it's like they're the team that killed the Pirates because the Pirates were in
The
that.
Pirates were never going to keep
But that division, you talk about the White Sox winning the AL Central. The NL Central is like a carbon copy.
It's not a car. It's bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's not a carbon copy.
Well,
that division sucks.
The Reds are 3 games up on the 3.5 games up on the Cubs. They've won 10 in a row. Like that's not sustainable either. So like that division's right there. And now Hendricks was looking like a pretty good pitcher again. Like they're kind of Bellinger's back. They're putting Bellinger at first place. Stroman,
Alzolay.
Yeah, they figured out the back of their bullpen kinda. So I don't know. I feel like that you want to talk about a team. I wonder what their future is right now because
Gonna make it hard at the deadline to decide what to do. They're gonna make it really hard.
See,
for
I don't.
them.
Well, I think the hard one is Stroman, and it's because you could probably get a fucking haul back for him.
Yeah.
But all the reports are the Cubs want him and he wants to be here. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? Go have a little 2-month vacation somewhere and then we'll see in November.
Yeah, but then he's gonna fall in love with that place and never come back.
Yeah, they all say that. Like that's
How many times in the history has that ever happened?
Where a guy leaves and comes back?
Yep.
Well,
Gordon Beckham. That actually did happen. Because that's like when my stink meter really started going off. They traded him to Anaheim, I think it was, at the deadline.
That's a good one.
And they gave up on him as a he was a mega prospect.
Yeah, he was huge.
They shot him up to the show. Like I want to say like 30 total minor league games. Won the Golden Spikes and he was in the big leagues. Won Rookie of the Year by one publication, I forget who, and then 5-6 years later, whatever it was, Gordon, you're traded, we quit, you're done. Oh, but we'll sign you again this winter.
Tom said Aroldis Chapman. That was a good one.
That's good call. To the Cubs, back to the Yankees.
Yep.
Baseball guy, Tom.
No,
Exactly.
but it like the Bellinger thing, it's almost like they don't have room for him, so you could trade him. Like they didn't really miss that big of a beat. He's playing first base now.
He's always dabbled at first.
Yeah, but he's played most of the year at center. So he's been in center field, but they have Morel. Morel's DHing for the most part. I don't know. Like they have like it's the same team. They just compete every day. They're pretty solid. They're kind of like the anti-White Sox, where they had low expectations. They're a year probably ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
But it's like the division is there for the taking. They got the London series coming up against the Cardinals. So, but it's like they just kind of just keep motoring along here. And it's hard to imagine. I don't know what their July schedule likes, but coming back from, it gets kind of tough here. But yeah, like it's not inconceivable that they could go on a run through or be within striking distance of the division at the deadline. So then, are you still leaning sell everybody?
You have to.
Yeah.
All right, but
I think so.
So do you give yourself a deadline about extending Stroman then? Because they're going to need starting pitching next year.
It has a built-in deadline. It's the 31st or August 1st now. Whatever.
Well, you're right. So it's whatever the trade deadline is. So if because I haven't seen reports of that where they're actively working on a deal either.
They got like 3 weeks. They got like 3 weeks.
Stroman said they.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. If you're the Cubs, it's like, do you just be like, let's just keep them and we'll keep working on the extension, or do you just say like, hey, we have to have something done by the deadline?
I mean, they probably know where each other is kind of at this point.
Yeah.
So that's going to kind of tell the tale. If they're so far off, I think you don't take that risk. But if they're kind of close, maybe you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's the one to watch, because the Bellinger one I don't think really matters. Jan Gomes I think is probably on the market too. I don't think that really matters.
No.
Although he's been a nice little piece.
Yeah, he's
Stroman is so good.
He's been the best pitcher in the National
You
League.
have to put feelers out there to at least see
if you get
you have to.
How old is Stroman now? Like 32, 33?
Let's pull it up. It's 32.
32. The Cubs aren't. I mean, I would imagine, assuming I can get into the head of Hoyer and decision makers, I would assume they're not playing to win a shitty division this year. They're going to be looking how to, be a actual 90-win quality team that can make noise in the playoffs for the next 5, 7, 8, 10 years, whatever. Winning that division to them shouldn't be the goal. It should be solidifying the team as best as possible for the future, not just the immediate near future. I would imagine but at the same time, if they think Stroman fits in their plans,
that's what I'm saying.
He has been injured actually, but he should be the kind of guy that should age pretty well. Because he's not like good athlete. He's not like some power pitcher. So I don't know. I still think that, considering how awesome he has been this year, and he'd be a rental, right?
Yeah.
He's on the last year of his deal. Like I think you if you don't have a deal done by the deadline, you have to trade him, get the best package, take it. And
that's why you set like an arbitrary like July 15th and like see where you're at, and then it's like, all right.
Yeah,
let's kind of see.
Well,
but on the flip side,
you probably get something for Smiley too. Like Smiley's been pitching.
Teams need pitching. They need pitching.
Yeah.
Speaking of trades, did you see the report came out that Levine, the Bulls are privately gauging interest in him?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
If they weren't, I'd be fucking more concerned.
It's just like it's like another Jerry. It's like a Jerry team though. Like they did the big rebuild where they got, they were tired of being like picking 7th in the lottery. So they went out and they got pieces to put around Levine after trading Jimmy, and they were like right back where they started. And it's like, didn't they just extend Vooch?
No, I don't think they did.
I think that was the rumor.
They were talking about it.
Yeah.
They entered negotiations.
But like I don't know how you extend Vooch and then trade Levine. It's like you have to do both or neither.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Why?
I don't know. You just find different pieces to fit around Vooch. I'm not saying you don't build around him. You don't build around him, but Vooch isn't going to get like something astronomical where you can't get your foundation. He's like he's a piece. I mean, I'm not the biggest Vooch guy. I'm just
I don't know.
He's not bad to have on the roster.
Yeah, that's all. I'm just getting in the head of where it's like
I don't think financially.
I don't think it's like either or. That's my point.
he's 35 years old now, right? I mean, I think I'm done with this whole core, like this whole group.
I don't disagree either. I kind of am too.
So then, like, what are you doing?
But I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Is all I'm saying. Like that, if you re-sign, if you
that's.
I see. I think I kind of do. Like I think you just got to get rid of everybody.
He's only 32.
30. Oh, so his deal would take him to 35. His
Yeah.
extension would take him to 35. Yeah. I don't know. I think that group stinks. I think we saw what the ceiling was. Probably Lonzo's probably done. DeMar's not getting any younger. It's time to just.
Hey, I met Lonzo.
We saw.
Saw Lonzo
big
Friday
sale GP
night.
guy.
Friday.
Yeah.
I dapped him up.
How was it?
I mean, he looked at me like I was a fucking maniac,
Yeah.
to be honest. But
You saw right through you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did you
It'll
bring
be
up
in-
Pat Bev? You tell him you and
I
you guys
did.
have a
I was
mutual
like-
best friend.
it's like, yo, what's up, Lonzo?
I wonder if he's even met Pat Bev.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Because he's been hurt the whole time.
It's a good
So,
question. It'll be in Stool Scenes, I think, next week.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. To shift gears a little bit too, you know, you're wondering if the Packers have like found a third quarterback that's generational.
This guy's a fucking loser.
Jordan Love's just a fucking loser. I
He's a
guess.
loser.
Yeah.
He's
What did
a
that even
loser.
mean?
It was like he was like a self-owned, but like
He was trying to make a joke about
But it
Happy
wasn't.
Father's Day to
Yeah.
Bears fans. Like, what, dude?
Where did he say that first?
I don't know. I've only saw quote cards.
I've only seen that too. Because the original tweet got deleted. The video that got deleted.
So there was a video.
There was a video.
So he knew. He knew he fucked up.
Was it like
wording.
a cameo where someone like goaded him into
So
saying
the
it?
story that I saw, it was like a Bears fan asked him to say it, and he obliged. And then it was like, it went like crazy, and then the guy got pressured, he deleted it. But it was just like, it never made any sense. It was stupid. This guy.
This is
oh,
it.
here we go.
Here we go.
We got volume.
Oh, my bad.
Oh,
I don't think. God damn it.
Fucking Jesse Winker, dude.
All the Bears fans out there, happy Father's Day to all the Bears fans out there. Go Pack Go.
Okay, now that
I mean, it's not as bad as as it was interpreted.
he's still a loser. He's still a loser.
Well, yeah, he plays for the Packers.
well,
No, but even beyond, like, Aaron Rodgers would have executed in that a way that like just got under your skin.
He kind of
This
gave
is-
a decent smirk at the end. I appreciate that.
so that was a
smirk.
cameo, right?
It had to be. It had to be.
Yeah.
so good.
Well,
Never
I don't,
mind.
This
I
takes
don't
all
think
the
it was
wind
like
out
a
of
selfie
those
cam. I think it was like a Bears fan at their mini camp or whatever, like asked him to do it.
Yeah. And maybe he was genuinely wishing a happy Father's Day.
That's what it sounded like to me. That's what I thought.
All right. Maybe I'm.
So maybe he's
But
just
he's
a nice
either
guy.
saying the Bears are my daddy or I'm the Bears daddy, and neither one of
I
them
don't
really
think that's
made
what he was
sense.
saying. I think
Which
he was
one? It has
just
to be one of
wishing happy Father's Day to
the
all
Bears fans.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, the guy.
fuck
You
him
watch that
regardless.
clip and he comes off as a dink, no matter how it's interpreted.
He
say?
does kind of come up.
There's no more. I handed him my phone, asking him to make a fun video to originally wish the French Bears fans a happy Father's Day.
I think that was the story. It was like a French fan asked him to do it, like, or a French publication.
The fuck is a French
Why
Bears?
are the French just get out of American football, French? But I'm excited for week one. I think
All right, I mean,
I'm not
listen.
afraid of this guy. I'm not afraid of this guy.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the original narrative. He's an idiot.
Yeah. Fuck him.
Well, it didn't come off well, so he is an idiot.
Yeah.
Poorly executed. Can't execute the play.
Terrible comedian.
Yep.
All right, so we could kind of wrap up there. We're going to be in Nashville next week for the NHL draft.
Bedard.
Big week. Yeah.
Bedard Day. We're 7 days away from the time we're recording right now. I think they're going to be very active. So, they got all those picks in the first 2 rounds. They got a lot of cap space. I think they're just going to they're going to be shucking and jiving and doing all sorts of different things, moving up, moving back, packaging things, taking on bad contracts. It's going to be like, I'm going to have to be Johnny on the spot. I'm going to be living on Twitter during draft day because it's going to, the Bedard thing is set. Like, that's been set since they won the lottery, 6 weeks or whatever. It's all the other stuff is where the mysteries are. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So if you're down in Nashville, we'll be down there
Yep.
out and about.
Yep.
So that's really.
Are you excited to go to some late night little honky tonks with me, Ed? Listen to some live music, throw back a couple Miller Lights.
I guess.
Damn. That's cold.
Barstool Nashville's opening.
Yeah.
Excited to go there.
Can we
Yeah, that's true.
Is that official?
The bar?
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware.
That's what I heard.
I don't know. I'm just like terrified to announce
PMT
it.
recorded it. Big Cat tweeted about it today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind. I just know like usually it's like Portnoy wants to tear the fucking gates open.
No, they did. PMT recorded from Nashville, and yeah, so the boys are gonna have a little fun time down in Nashville.
Yeah. Dave, I'm excited. I was just kidding.
Ed's on the hunt for bachelorette parties down there.
I don't think I think we're going midweek. Do they go midweek?
I think they go whenever. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I went on like a Wednesday last summer for 24 hours, and it was nothing but bachelorette parties
But sashes and tiaras.
on the little London double-decker buses and shit.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be fun.
I
the
love that
rolling
city.
bars, the bikes. Should we do one of those?
I would do one.
No, I did one of those there. It was like 100 degrees and it was fucking miserable.
I think we should do one.
Oh, dude.
Come on, Ed.
All right, I'll sit in the seat where I don't got a puddle.
All right.
There's
Peloton guy.
There's plenty other options that don't require like physical movement.
Yeah.
I just think it would be funny to
You
a
can find
funny
a
visual.
nice beer garden and just chill there.
No, there's like legit like tractors you can like ride around in.
Oh,
yeah, that's
really?
true too.
Really?
Yeah, those are better.
You got anything to close on, you guys? What you got any hot takes? Chicago sports? Come on, Mikey. I know you got one.
No hot takes yet.
Nothing?
No.
Not Bones? Come on.
What do we think for the record for the Bears next year?
10 wins.
I sincerely think we're going to compete for a wild card.
I do
10
what is
wins?
that? 10 wins, right? 10, 11
I don't
wins?
even think that's
not
anymore.
500.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 and 8 then?
I mean, competing is like pretty loose now because a lot of teams are competing for
Yeah.
wild card now.
Yeah, because they added that 7th one.
Yes. Like remember the Panthers traded everyone. They were like actively trying to tank and they were still in the hunt.
They were in the air in the graphic. I think the Bears are good. I think they're going to be very good. I think they're.
I
Gonna,
wouldn't go
I
very.
can't say very good. Like we can't do that, right? We can't say very. Would you say
No,
very?
you can't say very good.
I think people are
We can't
sleeping
get our
on this team.
expectations too high.
What,
You know what
I mean, how many very
You
good
guys
teams are in the
pussies.
NFL?
Well,
Five?
it depends on how you define very.
Chief just calling kids pussies.
I was talking. Well, and the kid with the microphone. He's in college. I can call him a pussy.
Yeah.
But it's like you guys are afraid to get your hearts broken. But I think they're going to have a pretty good offensive line. They have a good receiving core. I think the defense is going to be better. I think it's all
I think
like they
the
spent
defensive
money.
front seven is still need to be tested.
The what?
It does.
I think
It
the
definitely
front,
does.
especially the front four, like needs to be tested. So that's why
Yeah.
everyone's like just chalking everything
But
off.
they're going to
Very good. Like I hate that you said that. Like that makes.
I
me,
think they can get to they're a double
I
digit
think they
win
could be
team.
good. Very good is like such a big statement. Like it's irresponsible.
It's one check mark up from good.
It's irresponsible.
I didn't say excellent.
It's a big check mark, Dave.
I think they could
Very-
be. I don't think 11 and 6 is out of the question. That's my point. I don't think 11 and 6 is out of question. Division.
What do you think?
It's not out of the question, but
Yeah, I
There
don't
you
think it's
go.
out of the question either.
That's what I mean by very good. 11 and 6.
What do you got, Nick? What do you think?
I'm thinking it's doable.
Yeah.
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 Every
They're
single
all
break
saying it's
would have to
doable
go
now
their
because I
way.
called them pussies, which just makes them
Yeah,
even
don't
more
take-
pussies. All
don't-
these St. Pat's pussies
Yeah,
over
don't-
here.
Wow.
Eddie, Danny, and the 4 kids.
Be careful.
Hey,
bro.
don't take that from a prep school kid.
Yeah, dude. They'll fucking slash your tires, these guys. I know. Especially
Steal your
Bones over
chromies.
there, dude.
No, out of all the
This guy's been
Catholic
drinking in the woods
schools,
since he was in 6th grade.
Pat's, Notre Dame, and Rito were like the kids that I've encountered that were like tough kids. The rest of it, like Loyola, Bennett, and a little bit of JCA. Not JCA, I put more with you guys. but-
JCA, I like.
Rudy.
I kind of love JCA. The fact that they have Joliet, when you enter Joliet proper, they have that, how many state championships they won. That's so like Permian, Texas.
Well, how many
we have
they-
that. We have that.
Oh,
in,
do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, you
That's
can't
cool.
really do that for Chicago though, because what high
No,
school are
I
you
know, I
talking
know.
about? You know, but like where I grew up, we have that. It's like population Wheaton, 55,000 state champions. Blah 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 blah. blah.
And that's
You know
cool.
what kind of sucks about St. Charles?
What?
They have those signs, but they're like
Everything?
7A swimming.
Yeah.
Shit like that. It's like, ugh, who cares?
Yeah, croquet, 2-time champs.
What else? Anything? You guys got anything? Bones? What do we got to say? You got something? Where do you think
Did
the
you give him
submarine-
that nickname, or is his nickname actually Bones?
They said it. They
Okay,
called him Bones.
all right.
Where do you think the submarine is? You think they're toast? Bones?
Oh yeah, they're not finding that thing.
They got the sonar.
Yeah,
They're knocking on the
Yeah.
hole.
But
Elon's on the case apparently.
back to the Bulls thing. I think Vooch is just like the biggest pussy. He needs to go.
Hey, I'm
A
not.
lot of pussies being
I
thrown
hate
around here.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get big.
I agree.
He needs to get big.
I agree.
The boys aren't shy on the pussy calling today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, just let them say all the bad things about Chicago athletes, so we don't have to really deal with the flag.
Exactly. No, I wasn't advocating to extend Vooch, to be clear. I'm just saying I don't think it's an either or.
I don't understand what your goal. If you're trading Levine, you're doing some sort of retool, correct?
You're gonna get another star.
Hold on. Well, you're gonna get a star for Levine? No, you're not.
Yeah, you hope.
But you're not. You're not getting a star. You're not getting a player for Levine who's better than Levine. So if you're trading Levine, that's signifying that you're going through a retool, rebuild. And if you're doing that, what is the point of extending Vooch? 0.
So we could just scream Vooch still.
Where Kansas football are like people hyped up for it now?
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to be somewhere to begin with to be back.
They went to the Orange Bowl in 2008.
Ralph Friedgen, what was that?
Mangino.
Mangino.
Yeah.
Friedgen was the fat guy from Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shit. These guys all go to good schools too. Iowa, Dayton, and fucking Kansas. And then we got our.
This is like a basketball. These are all basketball guys.
That's good stuff. All right then. We could cut it off there. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on Tuesday from Nashville. So we'll see you then.